Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. So, I decided to come on here and talk about the energies that are going on right now that a lot of us seem to be feeling. Talking with a lot of people, and we're all kind of feeling the same thing. Because I'm back in it today, but yesterday I had a real reprieve and I felt like I had all this clarity. And I think it had to do with the X flares. We had two X flares yesterday, and we were in like elevated levels. We were in like M and X flare level of radiation. I guess it would be. I don't quite understand it, but anyway, the levels are normally at like C. They were up MX for like 6 hours, so it was just like a lot of energy, a lot of intensity and information coming in at us. And so I felt like I was really riding it. I had like all this like Shakti energy, it just felt like so amazing. And I had a lot of clarity, and I felt like I was moving out of this like other thing that I'm going to talk about, but now I'm back in it. So basically what I'm feeling is funny because my daughter is power washing right now. She's power washing our neighbor's fountain because she does groundskeeping for him. And so it's like just the perfect symbol, like right as I think she's done now, but like right as I was like shuffling the cards and stuff like that. So that's what I feel is that we're being like two things. One being like completely power washed, where it's like there's so much falling away so quickly that we're not able to register it. It's almost like kind of like a shock type of energy, or just like an overwhelm type of energy. But also there being this like vacuum that's being created in us where there's so much flooding in. There's so much flooding in. And the water symbolism I'm realizing with the power washing, but also the water. I forgot to turn off my things again. But yeah, and so just all this stuff coming in, but what it really is it's ourselves. It's ourselves coming in. It's more of ourselves because we're clearing out, we're like dumping, we're releasing. It's like like what we've been talking about the last several readings, the holds on the density, the holds on the program, the holds on the trauma bonds, and all the things that we've been functioning out of are just like dropping off, and it's like the energies and our consciousness, the light of our consciousness that we've gained over the years through all the inner work we've been doing. I'm going to sneeze, I think. Has been is taking effect, right? It's taking effect, and so it's like really clearing out. But then in response to that, everything's coming in. But anyway, we don't have those things blocking us that are in the way. So it's just like more of ourselves coming in. But there's a deeper level to that as well, because we exist in parallel dimensions. We exist in parallel timelines. Like we have aspects of ourselves. We have every aspect. And so I mean, often we receive or we connect with that which is related to the next phase of our journey. What is needed for where we're going next. But it feels like right now a lot are flooding in, like a lot, to the point where a lot of us, I keep hearing people saying this, and I've been feeling the same way. Like, we don't know what day it is. We don't know what month it is. Like, I keep being like, oh, we're on Earth, right? Like, we're on Earth. Like, where are we? What's going on? What am I doing? Wait, where am I going? Just really hard to track because it's just, there's a lot going on, kind of behind the scenes. I am going to jump into the cards because I could just like talk, but it's kind of fun because the cards are like a puppet show, and it makes it more fun. So, oh, okay, interesting. So ant spirit, time to collaborate. Well, that's the other thing that I feel going on is just like this is what's interesting. Like as we're receiving more of ourselves, these pieces that we're receiving are coming to us in a representation, a reflection of the pieces of ourselves that we're receiving are coming to us in the outer world. So like my daughter and I have been talking about this because, she's really like so much is coming in for her, and she's been isolated for most of her life, just like kind of living out in the middle of nowhere in the desert with her dad, and just super isolated. And so she's finally living with me full time now, and just everything's after a bunch of healing. Again, we had to power wash her. She was being power washed, through her perfect divine plan. But now things are really taking off, where there's all this stuff flooding into her realm, her world, her life. And so what we were talking about this morning is like all of those things that are coming in are actually you. They're aspects of you, but they're coming to you in the play of life as an outer thing, because she was kind of like, well, what if I'm not good at this? And I'm like, it's all you, it's you coming to you. That's an aspect of you that's inviting you to step into you, and to play out that part and to discover it. So there's no way you can fail. You're going to bring forth exactly that which it's representing, to bring forward. And so, but anyway, that collaboration energy where, and I think especially because we're receiving so many of our aspects right now, we could say it in lots of different ways, aspects, archetypes, you know, like codes that we have from other lifetimes. We'll just speak linear because it's easier. Codes that we have activated from that coming in. It's like a time where the timelines are merging. There's a harmonization going on, and so everything in that vacuum from the power wash is flooding back in, and so that's happening on all levels. It's happening on all levels. It's also happening, I feel, within our bodies. Like a lot of us that might have had like some weird health thing all of a sudden is gone, it's just gone, or like if you weren't sleeping well, all of a sudden you are, or, so that's a bad example because I've been sleeping really well. And then recently I haven't been sleeping because, I'm just stimulated. I'm stimulated by the energetic busyness, the busyness of my aspects, but anyways, stuff like that, like with the body, where it's like as you come into more wholeness within yourself, disease and disturbances are just a reflection of the discordance and the separation within our consciousness and within our relationship to ourselves. So as we come into wholeness with ourselves, our bodies start to heal. We start to come into alignment and perfect functioning, so you might be, people are noticing, I'm noticing that myself, within my body. So anyway, but again, this collaboration energy. So what I was going to say is like there are so many aspects of ourselves coming back that our lives are flushing out and busier, and a lot of us, where there's more opportunities and there's more people and there's just more activity because you're meeting the parts of yourself that are coming online, and you're meeting them in the outer place so that you can it's like it's almost like you're meeting people or opportunities that the codes that are unpacking for you as you're connecting with more of yourself, they might already have activated, and you might have codes activated that they need, that they're not that they need, but that they're unpacking. And so it's like you're reminding each other of who you are. You're reminding each other of who you are. It's like you and it's just all this beautiful orchestration, and again, the puzzle pieces where the puzzle pieces are coming together because you're attracting the situations and people that are a match to the piece that you have, the piece that is coming on for you, and in relating to them, you integrate that into yourself. But it's not about them, it's about you, but they're a match to it. So it's like how we're receiving and integrating, putting the puzzle pieces of ourselves together by playing in the outer world, because it's like that's why we're here. So again, a lot of us have been on retreat mode for a really long time. I was on retreat mode for like 6 years, and just in the last year I've been really coming out, and I'm coming out like new because I did my shadow work, I faced my shit, and I had my demolition, and I like broke over and over and over and over again. And so now I can come out in the world and just be me. I can be that pure transmission, of me, or at least pure. Of course we're always expanding and like I'm talking about receiving more of ourselves, but you're not transmitting or putting out your distortion anymore. It's like we're putting out who we came here to be, And so anyway, I forget what I was going to say. I completely lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to move on. What was I going to say? I don't know. It'll probably come back. All right. So what else? Oh yeah, 8 of Cups. Okay, so there's a power wash. There's a letting go. There's the releasing of all the things, and it's like they're just falling away. And so it's interesting because last night I was gifted a free ticket to this this concert, this band. And so I love to dance, and one of my favorite types of music to dance to is African, just like African music. And so it was an African band, and I was gifted this ticket, and it was at this venue that I don't feel entirely comfortable there. It's like a bar, and there's just like something about the crowd and the energy, and I'm kind of awkward anyway, just because I feel energies, and I feel all the different energies, and then I get like too much information. It's just overwhelming and awful. But if I go somewhere and I dance, it's fine because I just get in my own groove. I'm just in my own groove. And so anyway, I went by myself last night, and I realized later that was the first time I had ever done that. It's the first time that I went to, kind of like a many hours long event with dancing and lots of people, and I wasn't meeting anybody there. I wasn't driving with any. Usually I'll try to like, get a little safety buddy, but I just went. And so that was the thing that like, I didn't even notice that I wasn't going. Like, it didn't even occur to me to try to find somebody to go with. It didn't even occur to me to try to create a safety bubble for myself because I didn't need it. I just wanted to go dance to African music. I had a free ticket and I went. And so it was really interesting to see that difference in me, where I didn't even register it. So that's just kind of another example. It's like so much has fallen away, so much of our wounding or our trauma or like little glitches or like, oh, I can't do that because this is like, I want to do it, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do it. And even like between the bands, I felt just really uncomfortable. And I did know some people there, but I didn't know anybody like super well, or like, the one person that I kind of know more than the others was, I didn't know where she was and stuff. And so anyway, I was just kind of standing there feeling awkward like I normally do. And I just looked outside because it's kind of in a garage area. So they had the doors open and they just have like all this space in the back. So I went out back and there were all these people out there and I just like walked through them all. And I went down to the trees. They have these huge cottonwood trees and I just like sat with the trees and I watched the crescent moon rising and then I like laid down and then this like gaggle of kids came and I accidentally scared them because I didn't know I was there and they were all screaming and it was really fun. And so I just became friends with all the kids and then I hung out with the kids and they were climbing trees and it was just delightful because I've always been like that. Like I prefer kids and plants and animals and one-on-one, with people that I can really dive in with. And so, but that's what I did. And I didn't have any judgment on myself. Normally I would have judged myself or I wouldn't have gone out to the trees because I would have thought like, well, that's weird. You don't just go out there in the middle of the social thing and lay down with the trees. Like, what's wrong with you? But that's what I wanted to do. So that's what I did. And I didn't even think of it. And then when I got home, I was like, oh my God, I didn't judge myself at all. And what's interesting is I connected with somebody, the woman I talked about that was there, and she said it was like a rite of passage for her. And I'm like, that's how it was for me too. And I told her why. And she's like, oh my God, me too. Same exact thing. Like, this is the first time I've gone somewhere alone and, like that, and I didn't have any judgment on myself. So we were definitely like walking through that portal together, which was really, really cool. So anyway, just a lot of stuff like that, where it's like all of a sudden you're just like more okay with yourself because again, you've dropped all the things that kind of clog you up. And as you step forward into life, which is inviting you, it's like, hey, these things that match you are coming in, and then you're stepping into them because they match you and they feel right. And then you're discovering that you're different. You're not different. You're more you, but you're different because you're not clogged up with your wounding and your self-hatred and your self-rejection. So again, the collaboration to me is really feeling like the pieces of those puzzles that are matching you, that are inviting you into more of you, or by being a reflection of the more of you that is coming in. Are flooding in, they're flooding in. So they're flooding in the physical, but they're also, but really what's happening is these energies are flooding into your auric field because you're emptying out, because you've been power washed through all of the consciousness work that you've done. So, and again, some of us for many, many years, and it just feels like a lot of people are lighting up right now. And that this but this energy that's coming in is actually you, aspects of you coming into your auric field. And so your energetic signature is no longer full of all the stuff you just dumped. It's full of more of these codes from your own, however you want to say it, your own Akash, your own soul's journey, your own, the pieces of yourself that you have that didn't have room to come in because you were clogged up, they're coming in, they're hanging in your energetic field, and they're needing to be integrated. They're needing to be integrated, and then life, as magical as it is finding the reflection to that and finding you the things that help you integrate them, just by engaging with them. Like just me going to that thing, I wanted to go to that thing. I haven't danced African dance. When I was pregnant with my son, who's now 21, I did an African dance class, and it was so amazing because I was pregnant and it was my first child, and I was like a little bit nervous, but it like kept me in my body. I danced the whole way up to like 8.5 months pregnant, and it was just like really grounding and just like, so I was like reconnecting with that, reconnecting with the birth, reconnecting to the beginning of my journey of motherhood, all these things. And so anyway, I lost my train of thought again. I think I'm going to be like this today because, again, it's like so many things going on, I remember what I was saying, the things hanging in the field, wanting to be reintegrated. So even that for me, reconnecting with a part of my life, that I got away from, because I had trauma around my kids. I lost custody of my kids. There was all kinds of traumatic stuff. So there were breaks and tears in my timeline, in my, it wasn't continuous. It was like when you're driving down the road and you see the crosses where people have died. It's like I had a lot of crosses in my timeline, and it's like I've been clearing them all out, and so it's like everything's coming back in, right? Everything's coming back in, and those outer outer situations coming in to help you integrate. And so I see this in sessions a lot where people will clear. And again, it's like, it's always a reflection of the work that we're doing inside of ourselves, whatever it is in our outer world. And energy work can be really helpful because it's concentrated on that, where it's like that's the goal of it, is to clear the energy and to balance and to reintegrate. But it happens in life anyways. Like all of life is energy work, especially if we see it that way, and especially when we're really clear and we're engaging in life and acting on our desires and acting from our heart and this type of thing. But yeah, in the sessions, then it's like the energies will rebalance, and there's like a stable platform where it's like, okay, I have a stable base, and then the aspects will start to come in and they'll start to integrate into the body, and they'll integrate. But before they integrate, they're hanging in the field, they're hanging in the energetic field, and so they need something from the external to play with, whether it's energy work or something just in your life, to help get into your I don't really have the words for it. It's like to integrate it, to embody it, and to transmit it. So it's like you're not just receiving it anymore, you're transmitting it, and then you're transmitting what is truly your soul, more of your soul and more of what you came here to do. And so yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. So anyway, a lot of that, a lot swirling around, and that's the thing where I keep forgetting what I'm gonna say. I keep forgetting my point, and it's like I'll be making a point, and then there's like 4 other points. And so this is kind of happening in the last reading as well. But yeah, it's okay. So this is the star card. This is a card of alignment. So there she's holding. This is like the thread to her larger self. Here's our larger self, and it's like right now we're kind of hooked up to it, and it all, we have it all, and it's all there, and it's all kind of swirling around, and it's creating things to pop in our hologram, but it's not integrated yet. And so we feel all this bigness, like that's big and it's bright, and all the stars are connected to that, and she sees it and she feels it, but she's like, I don't know, all I can do right now is hold on to this little rope and then stay in the moment and follow my path and allow these things to integrate down into me where it's not so overwhelming. I think that's the point I was trying to get at. Like, it's kind of overwhelming when it's just swirling all around and you're like, wait, what? And you can hear it, and you're like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it hasn't landed yet. It is landing. It's like we have the string, we have it. We're connected to it. We're not connected, we're not just like clogged up with all this stuff, it's like that's been power washed, we're connecting with this, but it's not integrated. So a lot of people are having, myself included, are having digestive stuff that's been going on for a while, but now it's like really intense where you're like, oh my God. But it's just such a perfect symbol, because it's like our digestion's off. We're trying to digest a lot. It's like if you overeat, and then your body's like, how do I do this? It's like that's this, this is a big meal. That's a big bite. Our bodies are kind of like, oh, what do we do? Our energetic fields are like, what do we do? And to me, the feeling is to really stay in the moment and stay out of the mind, and to trust that alignment, and to trust the perfection of life, and to trust those puzzle pieces that are coming, and to just to like show up, like me last night. If I would have been in this energy, I would have been like, well, no, I'm not going, or no, I want to find somebody to go with. But then I was like, well, I don't want to go with anybody, because when I dance, I just kind of like leave the planet, and I don't want to like diss them and stuff. So I got to go alone. It's like you just go. You just go and do your thing and step in and know that your wings or your higher self or the perfection of the puzzle pieces are going to lead you, and to just trust, and just to know that the overwhelm is that it's that which is you that is flooding in because you've cleared out and you have room, and there's just a lot of it right now. There's a lot of it, and can be a little overwhelming. Oh, I finally got that out. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, so I'm not going to be embarrassed about just like skitzing out, because there's like so much in the field. The Two of Wands, yep, there's that card of desire where you're like, what do I want? Oh, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this, or maybe I want to do that, but not badly enough, or whatever it is, and just following that yellow brick road of your desires. So that's a perfect card to come out right now, and just really leaning into to what you want, because what you want comes from your soul. What you want comes from your soul, and your soul knows what it's doing. Like I keep saying, your soul has never forgotten. It's never forgotten. And it's connected. This is your soul. This is all the things that you're connected to, and so it's bringing those opportunities. It's bringing those desires. It's bringing them to you, and we just have to again follow the path. And so The next card that comes out is the Five of Swords. So this is the card of competition, of worry, of panic, of spiral, and that's the exact thing that when I was talking about this, just kind of staying in the moment and knowing that our souls are guiding us. How are they guiding us? They're guiding us through our desires. And if we have a desire and we take action on the desire, it's going to flow because we have that desire because it's us. So that's the thing again. If we desire something, it's because it's a part of us that's coming back to us. It holds the codes and the keys for the part of us that's coming back to us. And so we step into it like, hello, me, how are you doing? Thank you for coming to bring me this piece, so that I can transmit my own frequency. Thank you for helping me unlock these codes. And our desires really leading the way versus this kind of like mind thing. Like the Five of Swords can be a card of like spiraling where you're afraid you're going to get hurt or you're afraid you're going to hurt somebody else. And so then you get in this like heady space where you're trying to like figure out what to do so that doesn't happen. And so that's really acknowledging that energy can be here in this energy, because there is a lot, and it can feel a lot like really overwhelming where you're like, well, I feel kind of out of control, and I don't want to step into something that's not good for me, or I don't want to like step into something and then I get really embarrassed, or like, whatever it is, it's like, just don't worry about that. That's the message with that. So let me pull from my new deck here. Yeah, that's just some of this old energy, that's actually being power washed as we step forward into the opportunities that are presenting in our lives. The puzzle pieces coming forward. For my daughter, it's theater, it's theater, and she's totally being guided. She's completely being guided. Like, she met with somebody yesterday for the theater, and she had never met him before. She didn't know what he looked like or anything. And she kept having this vision of this man's face. And it reminded her of a guy from a movie, but it was this face. And it kept coming. And she was like, why the hell? I haven't watched that movie in like years. Why am I thinking of that? And it happened enough that she's like, okay, there's something to this. So she goes and meets the guy. And he looks exactly like that actor, but older. And she's like, oh my God. So it's like, that's the other thing. It's like our souls are at the helm. And it's like they want us to do something. And they know that like what the path is. They're going to give us little synchronicities and guidance and little things so that our human can't get in the way and sabotage it, So there's safeguards, this is like go time, where our souls are so close to us and they're so ready to come in, just speaking a certain language, they're so ready to come in that it's like we can't really stop it even if we wanted to, That's how I feel, that it's like it's literally like a flood, like a power wash. We're being power washed out of the stuff that's not helpful, but we're also being power washed with more of ourselves, How long did I talk? 22 minutes. That's crazy. The Lady of Perpetual Rebirth. Okay, so that's interesting. It's kind of a dark card. For some reason, these cards, this is a new deck for me, they've really been coming through as like really, really old energy. Like I could say past life energy, just stuff from before. So Perpetual Rebirth. Let me just pull another couple cards here and see how this wants to be talked about, because again, it's a new deck. She does have, this is interesting because she has, it looks like a moth, like upside down on top of her head, like a hat, and so that's really interesting because moths representing that sort of like otherworldly psychic realm, the rebirth into, and so I guess that's what I'm feeling from this now that I'm reading into the imagery. It's like, it is a rebirth. We are birthing into what might seem like otherworldly, or like my daughter, with the psychic perception she had of this guy. It's like we're being guided into our rebirth through the psychic realm. Okay, so that's what I was just talking about. Through the psychic realm and through the urges, our soul urges, and through that which is behind to bring us into this rebirth, and the reminder also that the rebirth is why we're here. We're here on this planet to grow and expand and to co-create and to not be stuck in these patterns of fear and whatever the situations that we were in that were a representation of this fear and this self-rejection and whatever the trauma we had to peel off. It's like, once that trauma's gone, and the karmic situations are over, then we're living from our souls. And just that reminder that that's what we're meant to do here. We're not meant to be in this box of conditioning and confinement where we're easily controlled and where we're just following along with the crowd and not listening to our own inner psychic centers to guide us on our individual path and our soul desires. Following the crowd, following the program, staying small because of fear, and just like worrying about what other people think. Like, don't go sit out under that tree during that that social gathering, that would be weird. Like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna go sit down under that tree because right now that's what feels right to me, you know. And it's like, again, just allowing our inner thing to guide us, because our souls know what's right for us, and to just drop the status quo, and drop the program, and drop the boxes, and drop the trauma, and allow your soul through our desires, through our instinctive center, through our heart, you know, but also through the psychic center, through the synchronicities, through that which you know, is just a little odd, you know, but listening and training ourselves to that, so that we can constantly rebirth, and we can constantly expand, and we can constantly bring in more and more of a larger part of ourselves, and bust out of this smallness and this contraction and this fear and self-rejection and all that. So all right, so we'll see if these cards say anything else about that, or I may have gotten it. I think a cat was eating my cards again. Oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, they're like more. There are a lot of little tooth marks. That's okay. So the King of Wands. Yeah, so that's like the King of Wands. He's fiery. He co-creates with spirit. He's a leader. He's at the helm of his life. You know, he has that I was gonna say that magnetic energy, because that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling this magnetic, like Shakti energy, even though it's a king, you know, it's a masculine. It's like a true masculine, and his power follows his Shakti. He follows his desire. He follows his heart. He follows his inspiration. He follows he follows his inner feminine. You know, he follows his heart, and he follows his inspiration. He follows the synchronicities and the psychic centers, and that's how he becomes a leader. He or she becomes a leader because he's co-creating. He has his God fractal intact, you know, or however you want to say it. You know, his masculine and his feminine, his polarities are working together, which is what I always talk about. And they're moving him forward onto his path, onto his spirit guided path, his soul guided path, his divine feminine guided path. You know, a true divine masculine listens to his inner wisdom and takes action on it. And then life unfolds from there. And so, yeah, there he is, the king of his realm. Really beautiful. And that's all of us. That's what awaits all of us as we keep courageously stepping forward, and dropping the program, and dropping the fear, and allowing life to guide us, because life is us. Everything is coming into our lives, again, is a reflection of, you know, just to reiterate, a reflection of the aspects of ourselves that are coming online now that they have room to, you know, we're connected to them, and they need to integrate, and they need to integrate through something in the physical. In order to integrate into the physical, into our physical bodies, we need to play on the stage of life. So we need something in the physical to interact with, to help us integrate. And when you have a lot coming in at once, and then you need a lot. You need a lot of things to play with. You need a lot, and so life really speeding up in that way, depending on your soul's journey, depending on what the plan is. You know, depending on how much of a node point this is for you. You know, for some of us it's a lot. You know, there's a lot, and we just gotta, you know, like double dutch. You know, just double dutch and trust, and really trust. And maybe for some people it's a little slower, but I think for the people that I connect with, and that probably would resonate most with me and the readings, it's kind of go time. You know, it's kind of go time. And so, all right, so I might make this a little bit shorter. I feel like that was kind of a complete message, but let me pull a couple more and see if anything else wants to come through. Yeah, the Six of Swords, so that's a card of moving on. It's a card of moving on. You know, the Eight of Cups is a card of letting go. It's kind of like, it's a water, you know, so again, it's the power wash. It's just like things releasing, like they're just not relevant anymore. They don't hook you anymore. We were talking about the neural pathways, where it's like they fire and you're like, what? You know, it like doesn't grab you. It's just, there's no match. You're not a match to it anymore. You know, you're a match to yourself. You're not a match to the distortions that were only ever meant to wake you up to who you truly are, because we all came in with amnesia, you know. So for a while you needed dark catalysts, you needed pain, you needed these things to remind you. But now once you remember and you commit to this path, then, you know, then what comes in is in support. It's in support of you, like I said, because it's a match to what you're to what you're pulling through, because you've awakened to it. Okay, so but this is kind of that energy of you know, just letting go of things on an emotional level, letting go of things that maybe you don't really want to let go. It's just it's a little stickier. I want to say it's a little bit stickier. It's a little more through the emotional body, and it just has like a different energetic signature to it. It's like this, It's like and that kind of undulating, releasing, but it's still happening. I don't know if that's making any sense. It's just a different quality of energy. The Six of Swords is clarity. It's clarity where it's air, so it's crisp. It's not like kind of like murky and like you're moving through sort of through your intuition, but it's a little layered, and maybe you're bouncing up again. You're interacting with things that help you unravel it. This kind of thing. This is just straight up clarity where all of a sudden you can see 360. You know exactly what you need to do. It's like the clouds have parted, and you can make those tough decisions, but they're not tough. Like this is like where it's kind of like a tough decision. It's not tough, not finding the right words. There's a nuance. Maybe it's in the maybe it's in the telepathic realm. Maybe you know what I mean. There's I'll probably think of it for like the next reading or something. But there's a nuance to the energy where I'm just gonna move on. But anyway, with the Six of Swords, it's like you can see 360, and just the road is clear. The road is clear, and you're leaving it all behind. So okay, let me pull from this. I'm looking at these cards and seeing if anything else pops out at me that I might be able, because I felt like there was something there that wanted to be like like defined. There was a subtlety that wanted to be defined. So just give me a minute. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, it's almost like the polarities. It's like a polarity in the energy, right? Because you have to have both. You have to have both. So it's like this represents the energy of the things that the things that are coming in that you need to integrate, like the things that are releasing, the things that you are releasing need to be integrated out. They need a catalyst in the outer realm to be released as well. And the things that are coming in need a catalyst in the outer realm to be released. So it's almost like a dual motion. It's kind of messy because it's a mixed bag where you're doing, and I think that's the water element where it just feels a little murky and it feels a little like unclear, and it's just kind of happening behind the scenes, and it's happening but it's not clear. And this being a really crisp and clear thing where it's almost like further on down the road. And so the next card is connection. So it's interesting too. This reminds me very much of the collaboration energy. So we might be wrapping up because it is kind of a repeat thing where there's a reflection. There's a reflection of you. There's a reflection of you in the outer world through those connections. Whatever it is you're connected to, whether it's a person or African music or the trees or whatever it is in your life. There's the Vesica Pisces, where these two things come together, and that co-creation energy comes where, and this is what my daughter were talking about this morning. Okay, so part of again what we're doing here is not to run the trauma, not to stay stuck in the trauma cycles and never move out of them, but to awaken enough to the point and to clear enough to the point where you remember what you're doing here. But then it's also to expand. But as we expand, we're expanding into more of ourselves. But as we expand into more of ourselves, we bring more of ourselves down here into this realm, and then we expand this realm. So that's that co-creative energy where as we bring in more of ourselves into our bodies, and we interact with that part of ourselves through other people. I hope I'm making sense. We're co-creating. We're changing the energetics in this realm. We're changing the energetics in the group that we're in. We're changing the energetics with the other person that we're in. We come home and we change the energetics with our children because we're different now. Our energetic signature is different, so we're constantly rippling out change. And then when we change that and everything ripples around and changes, then we're at a different configuration. And so then we start attracting in more things to match us, to help us to integrate and to bring in more. So again, no wonder we're having stomach issues. So much coming in, so much coming online. It was a little bit tricky to talk about. I thought maybe I could pull it off. I'm not sure if I could, but I think I probably got the point out, and I think I am going to stop there. And so, again, just that reflection of yourself in the outer world, and then the creation, your role in co-creating and changing the world through bringing your soul down, bringing it down in collaboration with events and people in your environment. And and then changing them, changing yourself. But it's not change. It's more about receiving more of yourself, receiving more of yourself. We're all receiving more of ourselves, and we're bringing that larger self down into, we're coding. You know, it's like building the new earth. It's a template. Again, we have the template through our higher self, and we're bringing it down into our bodies, into our integration, into our communities, into our work, into our relationships, into whatever we're doing, into our language, into our expression, into everything that we're doing. We're weaving it down here, you know, the Vesica Pisces of creation, and bringing these pieces together. So, all right, just a little bit of a behind the scenes look at that. I am going to pull one from my Goddess of the Moon Oracle. I think that's what it's called, just because I haven't yet. I might pull from that deck too, I'm not sure. But assessing. Okay, so yeah, and there we are, you know, kind of like, here we are up here, you know, it's like, this is like our soul, you know, assessing. This is almost like our soul behind the scenes, like looking to see like what is a match, what is a match to this piece of myself that's ready to come down. Where can I find it, and how can I then funnel that down into this person here, our human avatar, you know, that through a desire to get them to take action on that, you know. So again, just kind of more of that same message that's coming through around the perfection of this time, and really following our desires, and knowing that all of it is about bringing this energy down. It's like, this reminds me again of like what I was saying earlier, like our souls really want this to happen. And I think also because this is a shift of the ages, and where we're at in the collective timeline, both on this in this realm, but also galactic as well, because it's all fractals of the same thing. You know, the same play is being played out, just whether it's in your life or in your community or in the world or in the galactic or the cosmos. It's the same energy, you know. It's all the same thing, you know. And so anyway, I feel like there's something very much about this time right now, where a lot is happening. And so that's interesting. That's an interesting message right at the end, just the importance of this time and the potency of this time. So again, another message of, in terms of this energy, where you might be like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. It's like, you can't. Like, they're at the helm. The higher self is at the helm. You know, look at her. She's big coming out of, you know, the little human self is just down here in that little basket. But, you know, it's like our higher aspects, they know what they're doing, and it's like, it's go time. It's go time, and it's show time. So, all right, I think I'm going to stop there, and I'll listen to this and see if I made any sense. And yeah, just hang in there if you are feeling this overwhelm. And for me, I wasn't sleeping. I had like so much stimulation that I just couldn't sleep. And so now I'm learning how to, like, you know, I'm taking baths at night and just clearing off all the energy, and like getting that that Epsom salt, you know, like calming down. And I'm actually sleeping even when I don't, you know, I'm actually sleeping quite well. But yeah, it was just a lot of stimulation. Again, you know, a lot of energy in the arc field. But we are going to integrate this, and we are going to anchor it. And the way to do it is to just keep stepping forward and following those desires, and following those soul urges, and following those premonitions or whatever it is, and taking those steps, and knowing that that's how we integrate. That's how we integrate, and it's also how we anchor these higher frequencies, which are us. The higher frequencies are us, you know, the larger parts of ourselves onto this planet, and start weaving the new earth by living it. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time if I do. Okay, bye.